Hi there guys, how's it going? So there's a little bit to talk about in the game for this brand new week. It's a raid week of course, so that means there should be ton and ton of those gummy hounds being destroyed. I don't really know why they decided to get rid of the 90 or the 90th level boss, dropping the 10,000 coins that it used to. In my opinion, that used to be a really good way for people that maybe didn't play so much or couldn't play during the week to be able to afford that, Fantasia Mickey Broom, which could have been a really important thing to a player that again didn't get to play too much. Even if they couldn't raid and kill tons of bosses, at least if you said as a party, you posted on Discord or posted on Facebook, however you play the game, I'm about to summon this level 90 boss, I'll keep it up for 10-15 minutes, just go in and tap it and you can get 10,000 coins from doing that. At least that way it was a communal party thing to support your entire party. I don't know if they intentionally got rid of that or what happened, but I wouldn't mind seeing it back. There's a brand new week of Union Cross. I was sort of hoping that they were going to release the Sora and Friends anniversary medal that JP got for like literally on their second anniversary almost a year ago. I guess that isn't happening yet. It could still happen though, because again, anniversary medal could have fallen time with JP's third anniversary and they could just play it off as that. But I guess that remains to be seen. If that's not what it is, I don't know what the additional medals in our album slot could be, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. And there are of course new banners in the shop, as there always are. There's a little bit of a change to PvP, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about these banners first of all. So, first of all, there are 6 friggin' banners in the shop right now, guys. It is unbelievable. 6 non-permanent banners in the shop. So many things to spend your jewels on, and I'm pretty sure what this means is they're just trying to cast as many forms of bait out into the water as they can to try and catch all the fish they can before they bring out the really important stuff. And I keep saying this, it's probably going to fall on JP's anniversary. So if you guys are already holding strong, today's and yesterday's updates should really not be tempting you whatsoever, but just in case they are, I'll talk about those banners and why you probably shouldn't pull off them. In terms of the ones that are already out, I mean, maybe I was too harsh on the Dusk the other day. In terms of where it sits in the 5 Keyblades that have reverse magic slots, it isn't great on those except for Diamond Dust. But in the pet slot, again, if you don't have a reverse, like a copy backwards medal in your pet slot, it's so important. It's really fantastic. Again, I have HD Riku replica. That's why I was saying for my game it's not super important, but if you don't, it's never a bad thing to have more of them. So yeah, maybe if I was too harsh on that, then I take it back, but it's definitely a decent medal to have. The Nominee deal is still as baity as ever. Again, the fact that it doesn't have a Mercy makes it very tempting not to pull from it, but it's there. The Roxas and Shion deal, I think about pulling from this every single day. Every single day I wake up and I go, this might be the day I pull off that. I might just give into temptation and pull off that banner. We can talk about why it's so good in a second, especially compared to a medal like our friend here. And of course, well, yeah, the Axel deal is probably one you can definitely ignore as well. But I mean, I guess, given that it's a falling price, it does represent some pretty cheap pulls, but again, the medals that have come in that banner have come literally every single time, like every organization banner so far, so even though it is a good deal from that point of view, it's not very beneficial to players that have already had their fill of those particular guaranteed medals. Anyway, the 2 new banners, let's go ahead and talk about those. So first of all, we have the Final Boss Shion banner, which came out yesterday. If we can talk about what Final Boss Shion does as a medal, it's an all-target reverse speed medal that gets rid of 2 tiers of general defense to your enemy, whilst also giving you plus 3 tiers of reverse base strength at the 7-star version. If we go ahead and compare it to a very similar reverse speed all-target medal right there in Roxas and Shion, there is no contest. There is absolutely no contest whatsoever. Let's go ahead and pull up the stats of Roxas and Shion really quickly and just have a quick bit of a laugh when we consider, for the same price, for the same 15,000 jewels, you could pull a medal that does literally all of this, or you could pull Final Boss Shion, which again, back in the day when the buff cap was plus or minus 3 and general defense was really hard to get rid of, that was a great medal. There was no doubt about it, that was definitely a great medal back in the day. However, in the modern game, it's unfortunately had a bit of a fall from grace, when you consider that a medal like this at 7 stars gives you plus 7 tiers of speed, and the plus 3 tiers of upright reverse strength that Final Boss Shion gives you, in addition to negative 7 tiers of speed and reverse based defense, and 5 layers of general defense. No contest at all. And the fact that it can get plus 80% guilt to all medals following it, and the fact that it doesn't affect the counter, which might be the most important factor of all. If you consider that organization fights are usually against a very tough enemy with a very small counter over its head, at least when you get to stage 13, or even before that, if you consider the fact that you get a medal like this and you might actually really want to use it against that enemy, consider that if you get extra attack on it, because you might, given that it comes with 5 traits if you have to go ahead and pull for it, if you want to copy it forwards or backwards or use it as a friend medal, the fact that it ignores counters, even though it only, it doesn't add to it, but it just ignores it, it's still a huge deal. It's such a really huge deal. Again, consider you might cast this 3, 4, 5 times in one turn. The fact that you don't have to worry about counters when you're casting that is such a huge deal. It's just, the same thing couldn't be said about Final Boss Xion, unfortunately. Let's have a quick peek at the mathematics behind it, so we can see, in terms of multipliers, why we definitely shouldn't be pulling for Final Boss Xion. So, a quick peek at the multiplier will reveal that, let's pull that down a little bit and bring you up. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and have a look here at the tier 6 medals on the right hand side, tier 5 on the left. So in terms of Final Boss Xion's multiplier, it's 33.88, which again, that's assuming an 80% guild boost, which is not a guaranteed thing. There's no guarantee that's definitely going to happen. If we take a look at Roxas and Xion though, 31.48, so barely any difference whatsoever, and that will definitely have at least an 80% guild boost applied to it. So just to those multipliers alone, there is barely any difference there whatsoever, and again, combining that with the fact that Roxas and Xion comes with a trait every single pull, even if you get like, plus 1000 strength or negative ground, negative aerial extra attack, you will definitely be dealing more damage per, not necessarily per cast, but per metal slot than by pulling Final Boss Xion for the same amount of jewels. Of course, we're ignoring the fact that Roxas and Xion can switch to a single target. Remember that number we just showed you then? So 33.88. Just for comparison's sake, let's go ahead and have a look at the multiplier of the literally strongest all-target medal in the entire game. Those Musketeer Petes and young Mickey over there. If we go ahead and have a look at the single target graph, let's go ahead and find Roxas and Xion being a single target medal, shall we? So let's take a quick peek there. Oh, it's 47.39 with the 80% guild boost. So again, more powerful than literally every single all-target medal in the entire game when you're casting it against the same single target. The single target boost is no joke. It seriously turns so many medals that may not necessarily have their strongest, I don't know, people might overlook into something really powerful. It's crazy. Let's take a look at the EX medal deal, shall we? So the EX deal, if we scroll ahead to the top here, you can drop potentially 8 medals. I've just written out the average percentages roughly of how they drop out. So if we take a look, it's a roughly 15% chance of getting either of the 3 all-target medals at the top, which are Dual Roxas, pretty good. Sora Arts, the EX, yeah, probably the worst one of the entire bunch, given it was one of the original 3 EXs. Definitely way too old now to be considered good. Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora and Riku. Like it because it's got one hit, because it's got a unique animation, and because it's obviously one of the coolest parts of Kingdom Hearts 2. Apart from that though, apart from like the nostalgia and the kind of cool factor behind it, not super good anymore, unfortunately. The 3 on the bottom left though, however, like I just said about Roxas and Xion, the fact that they can switch between all and single target makes them really quite good. In fact, if we pull up that one more time on this single target chart here, we can see that they're actually some of the most powerful medals in the game. The most powerful medals in the game are the ones at the top right there. In our game, we don't have Cloud and Leon, so we only have Sora and Simba, Bob and Jack, but just below that, honestly not too far below, is, hopefully you guys can see, just below Valorform Genie and Herc B there, is Kingdom Hearts, Sora and Kairi EX, and Aqua is just below that again, and I don't know why, that 47.04 value there is all the foretellers with only one enemy left. I don't know why that didn't show up, but the point is, they're actually still quite strong. Of all of them, I'd probably want Sora and Kairi the most, simply because I don't have many upright power medals. I would definitely want to go for that. I'm pretty good for upright magic right now, but if I was to pull off this banner, I'd really be wanting Sora and Kairi the most. Here's the problem though, that's only got a 15% chance of dropping, and of the 3 I said I actually want the most, unfortunately, it's only a 45% chance of happening, therefore the odds are already against me personally for my game. In terms of the stained glass medals, yeah, they're good, but again, all target medals, I'm not a huge fan of, and when it comes to the priority list of increasing some to 7 stars, they are definitely at the bottom of my list, even though they are, quite decent medals. I don't know, we sort of got played by them because they came out, and then Kairi Plus and Xion Plus came out, and I sort of have a bad taste in my mouth after that anyway. Yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, if I was going to pull off this banner anyway, let's ignore the fact that it's only 3,000 jewels for one of this medal, but they only come with 0 dots as well, which is when I talked about the Prime deal the other day, I was like, okay, the Prime deal comes with the medal already at 7 stars, with all its dots fully gilded out, and potentially a skill attached to it. that is a way better deal than the EX deals of the past, which would only come at, you know, 0 dots. And now they've gone ahead and released a deal with 0 dots, and I can perfectly illustrate, well, think of how many resources you would need to actually make this thing usable. If, like I just said, I want to use this for PvP, so I want to have it at 7 stars, and preferably with really good traits. Negative grounds, extra attack. They are the king traits of this game, especially in PvP. So, if I want to have that for PvP, I'm thinking, okay, well, let's say I go ahead and get lucky. I hit the 15% chance, and I get Sora and Kari off my first pull, and I go, okay, great, fantastic. But I want traits on it, right? So now I need to spend another 3,000 jewels, again, assuming I got the 15% chance the first time, to hopefully get that same thing again, and again, that's another 15% chance on a 15% chance, which again, if we apply fractions, we're getting down to the 0.1, or the 1% chance area of this happening. Let's say that actually happens first though, then we go ahead and roll for a trait, and then we're looking at the 1 in 13 chance of getting those desirable traits, or let's say, I don't know, let's say 3 in 13 chance of getting a trait that we actually want here. In order, probably extra attack, negative grounds, and then, I guess for PvP, additional strength. We're talking ridiculously low chances, and then even if we do all that, we still need to spend, you know, 5 or 6 Mickey and Brooms to power this thing up, plus all the magic mirrors to get this thing to 200%, plus the most important part, the tier 7, 5 tier 7 friggin' fairies, which are extremely rare, and I've only earned 11 of in the entire time the game's come out, so they're not exactly common right now, and I only have 1 right now, so not enough to even evolve this thing. So what I'm trying to say is, this is a no-brainer to skip, in my opinion. This is complete and total bait. The only people that should be pulling for it are those that, I guess, just want to fill out their album. Like, literally, I don't know why I see you want to pull for it. I mean, yeah, the stained glass medals are cool, but just think about how much you need to invest to actually get them usable, and unfortunately, with PvP pretty much requiring 7-star medals to be competitive nowadays, unless you have oodles of tier 8 fairies lying around, you're probably not gonna, I mean, you probably wouldn't even want the stained glass medals anymore, honestly, as weird as that is to say, given how much everyone wanted them only a few months ago. We've talked enough about that, let's talk about PvP. Alrighty, it looks like there's been a minor change to PvP, so when we go ahead and select the battle right now, you can see I was in position about 4,000, well, I'll show you again, roughly 4,000, right? So my next goal is 3,000, so roughly, if that's our like little tier bracket, I'm aiming towards 3,000 now, so I'm sitting between the 3,000 and 5,000 place bracket. If I go ahead and try and attempt a challenge, it seems that I can't, sorry, I'll show you guys now, challenge anyone outside of my bracket. And of course that would change the closer I get to the cap of my bracket, and I'd love to do some more experimentation on this, but I think this is a really cool change to the game. What used to happen was, you'd have players that wouldn't do their tries until either like the very end of the day, or potentially the very end of the week, and they'd leap up, even though they were really powerful, they'd still be sitting around, you know, the low rankings, because this is where they started and they haven't bothered to increase it yet. So you'd have players that would go to bed, or, you know, log off for the day at position, you know, let's say position 4,000, and a player, let's say at position 12,000 or 13,000, whatever, would challenge them, and because they had a setup worthy of maybe top 1,000, they would beat them easily and then knock them all the way down to the bottom, and players would be like, well, I should have been ranked around place, you know, 3 or 4,000, and then I ended up barely anywhere at all because I got knocked down by a player who was just using me as a rung on the ladder and just went, yep, and dragged me right down as they were climbing up. I think this is an attempt to curb that, which, hey, look, if they're trying to improve the game, that's fantastic, and honestly, I'm happy about that. So, especially players who are all over the place in PvP, like towards the bottom, towards the top, I'm really curious as to your opinions on this. I think it encourages people to actually be playing more often during the week, and not just saving up all their tries to the very end, because if you literally have to climb every rung on the ladder now, instead of being able to just go, yoop, and launch your way all the way to, like, you know, top 3,000, whatever, in 1 or 2 jumps, it's going to encourage you to play a lot more. And I think you might even have to be smarter with your choices about who you battle, just because if you pick wrong, then you kind of waste a chance, and you don't really have the luxury of being able to, like, leap up so much anymore. I can see this being a good thing, but I'm really curious as to your guys' thoughts about it. Anyway, guys, I might start a stream now of some Kingdom Hearts 2, so if you guys, well, the stream will probably be started by the time the video goes up, but anyway, let me know what your thoughts are of the content this week. What do you reckon those medal slots are? I'm still not ruling out Anniversary, Sora, and Friends, but who knows? I'm still hoping for a banner, like, fingers crossed, I'm hoping for, like, a catch-up banner with potentially, you know, some high score challenge medals that we missed in the past, Shan Yu, Leon and Clouds. I mean, I wouldn't even give up on Nick and Judy be if I really was feeling greedy with my fingers crossed. Anyway, my battery just died, so I'll see you guys later. All the best. Bye.